Hey all, Andrew here. Welcome to the Onion Buns. So I was perusing social media today, doing my daily perusal of X and Facebook, reading all the stories and, looking at what do I want to talk about today. And it occurred to me I don't really want to do a news cycle today. I'm thinking more, let's change the topic a bit. How about I do a video on what I want to see for Canada? Now, I get accused a lot from the extreme far left of being far right, Trumper, conservative, blah, blah, blah. As I've said many a times, I'm a moderate, I'm a centralist. I don't belong to the conservatives, the liberals, the NDP, the Greens, the Bloc, PPC, anyone. I don't do extremist politics, be it right wing or left wing. But in all their name calling, it got me thinking, what we don't hear, especially from the left, like from Carney or anyone, is what do you want for Canada? What is your vision for Canada? So I thought, why don't I share my vision for Canada? And then you all can come into the comments and you can share your vision if you want, and we can have an open discussion. And that'd be awesome, as long as it's reasonable. I got some idiot that's spamming my comment section about Russian bots, and I didn't even know Russia was a thing in this election, to be honest. I mean, I've heard the ridiculous claims of India election interference because one person in India donated to Polyev. Oh no, and we all know China's interfering for the fourth election in a row, and Carney's gotten like 1,000 donations from Beijing officials, and then there's the whole WeChat election interference story that just happened, and so anyway, I don't want to talk about that. I'll do that in a later video. But yeah, it's like this guy's just spamming my comment section with Russian bots, Russian media. It's like, buddy, I think you're kind of 4 years too late on this one, maybe 8 years too late. But he's grasping at any sort of straws to promote the liberals, and that's what they do. Whatever. So anyway, I wanted to talk about what my vision of Canada is in regards to the election. So first off, let me say, as a moderate, I firmly believe that Canada is at its strongest when we have a strong center-right Conservative Party and a strong center-left Liberal Party. We don't have that currently. We have the center-right Conservative Party, but our Liberal Party, contrary to what they spin and what the media keeps spinning, Mark Carney and his Liberals are still radical extremist alt-left globalists. Make no mistake about it. They are not centralists. They don't even know where the center is. So in a perfect world, I would love to see the Liberals lose official party status. Not because I want them punished, though honestly, I do want a fair number of them punished. Like, these are some of the worst politicians I've ever seen in Canadian history. But if they lost official party status, that would force them, like it forced the Conservatives, and this really helped the Conservative Party, to be honest. It would force them to house clean and reinvigorate their party, get new people, new minds, new ideas into the party, and hopefully move the party back to the center left that it was in the 1990s. That is what's best for Canada on the political front. A center-right Conservatives, a center-left Liberals, but a true center-left Liberals. Now, the NDP, they're always going to be far-left socialists. I'm never going to vote NDP. I don't do socialism. I think socialism has some concepts, and you can borrow those concepts and adjust them without having to go down the entire socialist rabbit hole. It's one of my frustrations. I have a few friends that identify as socialists. I have one friend here in Edmonton. He is a radical extremist, alt-left socialist. And his concept of socialism is the conceptual socialism that we read about. It's not the reality of socialism. I keep telling him, if you want socialism so bad, go live in Venezuela, see how you like it. I'm sure they'll save you a spot in their food lines. But he won't hear anything of that. It's like, oh, no. Socialism is this, and this is how socialism works. And it's like, no, it doesn't. Never has. On paper, socialism is a grand idea. It's fairy tale beautiful, but it doesn't work because you get corrupt individuals taking advantage of it, and for some reason, I don't know why, that reality doesn't seem to click with NDP voters. They can't make the connection, or they can't differentiate between theory and reality. Like I said, the theory of socialism is a grand thing. It really is. But you'll never get that. Star Trek is a grand novel idea. We're never going to get it. At least not in my lifetime anyway. Maybe in 100, 200, 300 years, we have Starfleet and whatever, but but it's not going to happen in my lifetime. And you don't put socialists into power in the hopes that they just might follow the theory. Like, who really believes Jagmeet Singh is going to follow the Star Trek template? I certainly don't. You know, he rambles on about billionaires and rich people while he's wearing like $100,000 Rolex watch and driving a Maserati. He's like Mark Carney. What he says and what he does are two completely different things. So yeah, my idea for Canada, though, is a strong central government. And I don't mean central as in where it's located in the country. I mean central as in that's where we build policies off of. You know, for law and order and military, we can go to the right. For social problems, policies, we can go to the left. But we stay in that center left, center right parameter. And that's when Canada's always been at its strongest and its most successful, is when we're in that center left, center right parameter. Once we start, and I'm going to dispel a myth here. I know the media and the Liberals and the NDP and the Greens, well, all two of them, they love to talk about the far right in Canada. It doesn't exist. You know, you might have a fringe, like the PPC is about as far right as they go, and even they're not really far right. They're not central. I would never vote for them, but they don't qualify as far right. You know, we have a center-right conservative party, and it's been a center-right conservative party for my entire lifetime. I'm 59 years old, and I don't remember a time it went outside of the center-right. I do remember the odd wackadoo that went far right, like we had this one teacher here in Alberta who was saying the Holocaust never happened, you know, and he's an idiot, but he's one person. He's not the Conservative Party. He's not even the PPC party. He was one person pushing his ideology. So anyway, so sort of got off topic there, but yeah, so the far right in Canada does not exist. It does exist in the States, but it does not exist in Canada. Just because a party is to the right of you doesn't make them far right. Again, we need to be center right and center left, and those two parties can bounce ideas off of each other, but because they'll be in the same basic parameter, they're not fighting, they're actually coexisting and communicating. And that's what we don't have in Canada right now. And we will never have it with Mark Carney and his Liberals as they stand right now. They don't listen. They don't communicate. And that's my vision for Canada, is I don't want to be a one-party country. That just leads to even more corruption. I want a strong Liberal Party and I want a strong Conservative Party, but I want them as center left and center right so that they can function together for the benefit of Canada, not for the benefit of Brookfield, not for the benefit of China, not for the benefit of the United States, but for the benefit of Canada. That is my vision, my positive vision for Canada. And that's why I'm voting Poilievre, because we need to get rid of the current formation of the radical extremist alt-left liberals. They're globalists. They don't represent Canada. They represent the WEF. They represent the UN, and they represent China, as we're learning daily. They don't represent Canada. We need a strong Liberal Party in the center left that represents Canada. And we need a strong Conservative Party in the center right that represents Canada. And you bring those two together, and that's best for Canada. And that's my vision for Canada. It's pretty simple. I mean, we can go through every policy and we'll agree on some and we'll disagree on others. But at its formation, when it comes to this election, I want what's best for Canada. And to get that, we need to get behind Poilievre and the Conservatives, even if you only do it for this one election. I don't expect the Liberal. I wish Trudeau had stayed on now. I really do, because I really do think they would have lost official party status, and that would have got the Liberals to clean house and move back to the center left. Unfortunately, it looks like the NDP are going to lose official party status, and that does nothing for Canada, because the NDP was never going to hold power in Canada unless it's a minority government and they can blackmail whoever has the minority. But as we saw over the last 4 years, Jagmeet couldn't even do that properly, and he just sold Canada out to get his pension. So, you know, I don't care if the NDP live or die, to be honest. I really don't. They don't do anything for Canada. And I want Canada to benefit. Simple as that. So anyway, that's my Let's Talk video for today. I just wanted to have a talk about what my vision is for Canada. And that's it. I love Canada. I love Canada. But I don't like what Canada has become over the last 10 years. And if we elect Mark Carney, I have serious reservations on if Canada will survive the next 4 years. I just saw a poll, not that I put much faith in the modern day polls, but just saw a poll where Saskatchewan is now leading over Quebec and Alberta for separatism should Carney win the election. And I saw another poll the other day where right now Alberta is sitting at 30% pro-separatism. It's not hard to fathom that number jumping to 50 to 60% should Carney win the election. You need 50.01% to separate from Canada in a referendum. Keep that in mind. And Quebec, well, separatism's on the rise there. They're not at the 1970s level, but separatism's on the rise, which is another reason why I don't believe the polls, because there's no way Carney's Liberals are beating the Bloc in Quebec. It's just, separatism benefits the Bloc. So yeah, they're not beating the Bloc. They'll probably beat them in Montreal because Montreal always votes Liberal. But outside of Montreal, I honestly do believe that's going to be a clean sweep for the Bloc this election, so which is another reason why you take all those seats in Quebec that the pollsters are saying are going to the Liberals outside of Montreal. Well, suddenly they're down a whole bunch of seats, a ton, because the last poll out of Quebec, I forget, was it Nanos or Ipsos Reid? I forget which one it was, but they were saying Liberals are going to do a clean sweep across Quebec. No, not happening. So I have serious reservations about the national unity and survival of Canada should Carney win. And I think everyone should be thinking about that. If you love Canada, despite all our differences, you should want Canada to stay strong and together. That's not going to happen if Carney wins this election. There's a very good chance 2 to 3 provinces will not be in Canada in 4 years if Carney wins this election. Like, a vote for Carney, besides all of the negatives on him, and you can go watch my other videos because I'm not going to repeat it all. I'm tired. It's like the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Well, you can lead a Liberal to the facts, but you can't make them read it or watch it. So the facts are out there. Go watch my videos and you will see a noxious amount of facts on how evil and what a bad guy Carney is. But you got to go watch it or go online and read it and Google it. If you just live in your echo chamber, you're never going to learn. The mainstream media has been covering for him. Now, he's started attacking the mainstream media, so maybe that's going to change in the next couple of weeks. We'll see. But yeah, so anyway, that's my video for the day. I hope it got you thinking, and I hope you'll come into the comment section and give me some feedback. I would love to see what your idea for Canada is. Simple as that. I don't care if it's right wing, if it's left wing. What is your idea? What is your concept for Canada? What do you want to see Canada? Now, don't come in and say Orange Man bad. If that's the only reason you're voting for Carney, you're an idiot. There is a hell of a lot more issues affecting Canada than Donald Trump. So if that's as bad as I remember, not the last American election, I guess it would have been the one before. I used to game with the guy. It's actually, this guy is why I named this channel The Onion Buns, and I'll be coming out shortly with a video telling that story. Little teaser there. But he voted for Biden. And I'm like, well, Jermo, why did you vote for Biden? I want legal weed. But Biden can't give you legal weed. That's a state issue in the States. And your state has already said no. I'm hoping he'll overturn it. But he's not going to overturn it. So what else did you like about him? Nothing. I just want legal weed. And that's why I voted for Biden. It's like, are you stupid? And it turns out, yes, he's one of the stupidest people I've ever met in my life, quote unquote. But anyway, so if you like this video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. I appreciate the people that like, subscribe, and share greatly, and I thank you. If you dislike this video, leave a dislike. Always feel free to leave a comment. I encourage you to leave comments. I want to start having conversations on the videos. And as always, pew, 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Bye.